Alright, so today on BS Homestead, we went to the river and we caught a turtle, which we didn't really want to deal with, and we got a gar, which was awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and get the gar ready to eat, try it out, see what it tastes like. So we're just gonna get some onions ready and put that in there, put some butter and onion, and call it good. So alright, so one thing we noticed is, sometimes they can get a little slimy and down on the river, so we just kind of want to clean it off and make sure before we start cutting into stuff that we washed all this mud off and made sure there's, especially anywhere where we're going to be cutting and stuff, that there's no slime, no goo, no mud, anything like that. We're going to try to cut, this area, kind of back behind these gills probably. Yeah, these scales are like really hard, so goal, we're just trying to get as much meat as we can. I mean, try to sneak in behind these gills.
Scales, you mean scales?
Yeah. Alright, now we're going to try to come back as far as we can. And usually the meat kind of goes all the way up to the tail there, but for a fillet, but I know some people will chop this back, so we'll probably start there and see. Alright, you'll notice it's very hard. These scales are super freaking hard, and they don't cut through real easy at all. So
look at that.
Here and see if there's much meat here. There is some meat there. It's just hard to get underneath these scales. Alright, so we kind of pop through on that side. Now we'll see if we can get through on this side. We got this part kind of cut. We're going to try to get underneath those scales.
Wait.
Now you probably want a much sharper knife than this. This knife is not super sharp. But so I'm having to do a lot of prying to break through these scales. Sliding the scissors sideways and then to try to get on top of the meat.
That's a pretty big scale.
And then cutting the scales with these scissors, so. And it's slowly kind of working its way through. This is kind of right where basically the spine is. You probably could almost take a chainsaw or saw or something to cut through this, because it is very hard scales. Probably would be good to be wearing gloves. You'll notice when you curve it this way, it wants to move in that direction. You're kind of coming down on one side of the back. And move. Alright, so we're kind of trying to come back the other direction because we went off the other side, so just slowly working our way through here. Yeah, so it's obviously hard to get in the spine. Almost got to the back of the gar fish. And you watch these videos on YouTube and they make them look way simpler than this. Here you can kind of see the reality of, hey, can be a good amount of work. You don't have like a freaking saw to cut this open. So, all right, so there we go. Got through all spine. Now we're gonna try to get as much of the side of the meat as we can. In fact, we probably can go right around this fin. So kind of going around on one side of the fin, and then we can kind of try to go on the other side of the fin. All right, now we'll try to basically get between the
Make sure you get
the skin we're going to try to cut underneath the scales. Try to pull these apart. You can see as we pull the scales back, you can see all this meat starting to show there. You can actually kind of put your thumb in there almost, so it kind of separates. But I can see why people use gloves, because it's so sharp. These scales are so sharp. All right, so I'm trying to work my way back on the other side, because we obviously cut too far along this side of the spine, so trying to work my way back that way, and then we'll probably scissor that side a little bit more. All right, so we had a lot of cuts here because kids and stuff, so, but process is still the same here. We're just basically tearing off this these scales here to get to where the meat is, and then we can get the fillet. All right, so now we've kind of exposed much of the fish, and now we can kind of find
The meat.
the rib cages. We're just basically getting all this meat out of there one way or another. It's probably not the cleanest
Center.
cut ever, but we're getting it. Alright, so we obviously don't want to eat any of that. All right, I think we've got out as much meat as we can get out of this thing, or we're willing to do, given how much time we put into it. But we'll try
about that meat?
Unlike a lot of videos, we'll try to show as much as we can so you get the idea of what goes into this. But you can see how much meat we got out of there. We're gonna probably even clean that up a little bit too. But like, we don't waste anything. So all this will go into compost for growing all our food anyway. So we're gonna make sure we make sure we use the end for that as well. So we're gonna bury this in our compost pile. So, alright, so all I did is throw onions in there and some salt in there, and a little bit of garlic in there, and then I threw some flour and I'm just mixed it in there with the flour to kind of absorb some of the water, and kind of dabbed it with some paper towels. But yeah, just like a quick little salt brine basically in there. Yeah, so one of the cool things about cooking with avocado oil is it doesn't really burn real quick, so you can kind of have a higher temperature and not actually burn the fish. So that's one of the good things about having that. Probably done.